Hi everyone, hope you are all doing well and staying safe. My name is Amy Trabert. I am the Erie County High Risk Team Coordinator. And the purpose and really the focus of my position is to prevent and put in interventions for survivors to stop domestic violence homicide from happening. And today I'm going to talk to you about high risk factors for domestic violence homicide, specifically the Erie County High Risk Team, what I do, and then also touch on strangulation as well. So risk factors for domestic violence homicides. The first risk factor that I wanted to talk about was stalking behaviors. We see that 75% of cases where stalking has happened in a domestic violence homicide. And when I mean stalking, I don't mean just following somebody around or constantly being around them, which still happens all the time. Same with following somebody in their car, that's still a stalking behavior. But nowadays we see stalking more happen with technology. And when I mean that, I mean through apps, through your location, through your pictures, through shared drives, through Snapchat, Facebook, having your location on for all of those things, for all of your pictures. The other thing is through your iCloud. So if you've ever shared an iCloud, if you shared the same phone plan as your abuser, as well as really just any type of technology where the abuser had access to it. So passwords, different things like that. The other thing that I also talk closely about is Wi-Fi. So if they've had access to your Wi-Fi as well. The victim believes the perpetrator is capable of killing her. This is a risk factor for DV homicide. We know that victims rarely overestimate the amount of danger. Actually, most of the time they will underestimate the amount of danger that they're in. And that's because they are dealing with such a traumatic event, and that's actually a survival tactic with it. So if a survivor ever comes and says, that they believe somebody is capable of killing them, then you have every right to believe them. Physical abuse is increasing in frequency and severity. So maybe something that started out as emotional abuse, names, blaming, making that person feel dumb, stupid, is turning into physical assaults. So can turn into pushing, shoving, strangulation, or choking. And then again, forced sex. So these are some of the different things that we see. I will note that for a domestic violence homicide, we've seen homicides where there was actually no physical violence and it was all emotional and coercive control manipulation that existed in the relationship. And again, that is still domestic violence. Strangulation from the partner or choking. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but there is a difference between strangulation and choking. Strangulation is incredibly lethal. If you are strangled by someone, you're 7 times more likely to be killed by that person that had strangled you. The offender is suicidal and has threatened to kill himself. This is not an empty threat. When your offender, partner, perpetrator is threatening to kill themselves, they absolutely mean it. And that's not only a threat to kill themselves, but a threat to kill you and themselves immediately after, which is known as a murder-suicide, or kill you, other family members, or people are present, and then themselves after. So, which would also be known as a familicide. Recently separated from offender and has left the home where they resided together, right? So how many times have people heard that? Why don't they just leave? I don't get it. Why don't they just leave? Because they're smart, right? Because survivors are so smart and they know that the most dangerous time for them for domestic violence homicide is when they leave. And it doesn't mean that they can't leave safely. They absolutely can. They just need to be connected to domestic violence services and an advocate to be able to safely and strategically plan with them. So high risk factors continued. The offender threatens to kill the victim. So right, there's direct threats saying, I'll kill you. If you leave me, I'll kill myself and I'll kill you. If you try to, take the kids from me, I'll kill you, I'll kill the kids. The offender is unemployed. And the reason why an offender being unemployed is a high risk factor is because you have yourself a full-time stalker and that becomes their job, right? And then we put unemployed, out there and they have all this time in the world. So the other thing too is to watch out for people that are quote unquote, self-employed and then have their own business, because usually we know that it's some type of trafficking, drugs, or they don't have their own business and they're making it up. So being unemployed is a huge risk factor because it gives that perpetrator more time to have access to different ways to stalk a survivor or a victim in the situation. Offender has ways of obtaining a gun or weapon. So not only, it's not just if they own a weapon, but it's if they're able to obtain a gun or weapon. And this could be through family members. Maybe they have family members that like to hunt. This can be through friends. Maybe they have friends who have weapons. This can be affiliated through gangs. Maybe they're affiliated with a gang. Forced sex is another high risk factor, right? So your partner making you do something sexually that you do not want to do, or again, doing sexual acts for your partner because if you don't do it, something bad will happen to you and you're afraid of what those consequences could be if you said no, right? Saying no and then the perpetrator keep forcing themselves on you. So it's really, really, really important to know that forced sex is rape, and rape is a criminal act. Offender threatens to kill the victim. So the offender says, I'll kill you. We talked about that in the first part of it. The offender threatens the victim with a weapon directly. So saying, I will kill you with this gun, this handgun, this knife, this rope, string, whatever it is, being specific about how they will kill them. Extremely controlling all aspects of their day, not allowing them to see family and friends, convincing them that their family and friends don't like them or yourself, and also really not allowing them to have any type of finances, not allowed to spend certain amount of money, being able to only grocery shop, and then they can spend as much money as they want, having to consult with your partner or perpetrator or offender every time you do spend money, not being able to seek out an education or better yourself or potentially get a job. The last high risk factor that I wanted to mention was that having a stepchild present in the home is a huge high risk factor. And the reason for that is that this is a child from a previous relationship of the survivor. And to that offender, that is a direct threat. It's a slap in the face because in the offender's mind, the survivor should only be with them and only them. And the child that they had with a different person or partner or whoever it is a constant reminder to them that person, that the survivor had slept with someone else. And in their mind, that's not okay because they didn't have the power and control over them that they should have over them for all that time. The other thing I like to talk about as well is that we know perpetrators, the partners that a partner who you may have a previous child with, different things like that, there's custody going on, that person's at risk as well. So it's very important to safety plan with that partner too, because the perpetrator is so jealous. So this is the first part of the series that I'm talking to you guys about, and I'll talk to you a little more about strangulation and the high risk team in the next couple of sessions. So thank you.